I am struggling a lot with my health now because of the push that I put myself through. As a business owner, as a mom, it's not just days, weeks, months. It's year after year of steady, just pressure, go, go, go. Up at 6, go, you don't stop until 10 o'clock at night, just going steady. And all you see is what needs to be done. And for myself, I love being a business owner, but I also want to be a great mom. So these are things that I want really badly. So I'm trying to find that balance.
I'm Greg Forzani with Forzani Business Education, and this is the More Profit, Less Stress podcast, where we provide insights for more profit and less stress in your business now with the purpose of turning it into a valuable asset. Welcome to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. I'm Greg Forzani, here with my business partner, Sandra. And our guests today are Christine and Tracy from the Pink Wand in Cochrane and West Calgary. So the two of you used to own a fitness, would you call it a training facility or gym?
I'd say personal training studio.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I know the two of you are into health. So I guess the purpose of today's podcast is we want to get into in the US and Canada, it's women's health month, right? So it gets into mental, physical, all that kind of stuff. And I know with both your backgrounds, you've got and Sandra as well, I guess, have a health background, health focused. So it'd be kind of cool to get into a conversation about women's health, both mental, physical, all that kind of stuff, and really talk to business owners because they probably, the average business owner gets out there and, let's be honest, probably sacrifices their health maybe more than some other people do. So get into some things about signs to look for, what you see, and maybe reasons why maybe we do it. Yeah. So Christine, Tracy, I'll start with you two. What are some signs, because you're business owners, successful business owners, you've had a personal training gym, and you probably see female business owners that sacrifice their health and maybe get so far past sacrificing it that they don't maybe get to a point where they can bounce back. But what are some of the signs you see? Like, what have you seen? How do you think it starts?
I think it starts with maybe not having a balance as far as taking care of yourself and the business, because a business has so much demand. I think you just keep giving, and not actually taking a step back and realizing that you can only give so much out of the cup until the cup's empty. So I think that's kind of where it starts, is with the need and what the business needs at the beginning or during the process, what it needs from you, and not having that boundary, and to realize and take a step back and look and see that you can only give so much from the tank.
Right. So you mean not realize even when they started where the tank was at, right? Like
Right.
If the tank was already here and they drain it, that'd be a problem. So that's a good point.
Well, both of you have families too to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
So not just business. Like many times I tell Greg, I'm like, I can't imagine the women that are running the business and they're running their family. They have to get organized around that. I have 3 dogs, and that is a responsibility that I gotta, do. And I'm like, I can't imagine people having 1, 2, 3 kids to take care of between taking them
and 1, 2, 3 dogs.
And 1, 2, 3 dogs. And God forbid the husband's not involved in that process as well, right? Because that for sure happens. So yeah, I would love to hear from your perspective. I don't have kids, but from your perspective, how do you guys manage? Like, to me, that's like the biggest question I want to know.
I think maybe Christine can answer that, because my kids are older, so I didn't have quite the same demand as far as the family goes as Christine does, because her kids are like right in the heat of the scheduling stuff. So I'll let you answer that one, Christine.
Well, I find that for me, the biggest struggle is the pressure is consistent. So we go through a period of our life where it's a struggle and it's a hard time, but that time will come to an end. I heard a podcast about this the other day and it completely clicked for me and helped me understand things a little bit more. I am struggling a lot with my health now because of the push that I put myself through. As a business owner, as a mom, it's not just days, weeks, months. It's year after year of steady, just pressure, go, go, go. Up at 6, go, you don't stop until 10 o'clock at night, just going steady. And all you see is what needs to be done. And for myself, I love being a business owner, but I also want to be a great mom. So these are things that I want really badly. So I'm trying to find that balance. And then commonly, especially after we left the fitness industry into the cleaning company, my health did get pushed aside. It wasn't that I wasn't working out. It was more the calm, the moments to just decompress and have a moment to myself. And then my health deteriorated pretty quickly. And for myself, it was over a period of less than a year, my body just completely shut down. And so at that point, I knew I had to start taking health measures. But the problem is that I had a business that was continuing to grow. There was expectations put on me there, as well as expectations in the home. And then my children are both in competitive sports and, which nowadays competitive sports is very 5-6 days a week. So just trying to find that balance, little things like take my daughter to her soccer practice and find a park nearby and just go for a walk. And so just trying to fit my workouts and my time in around that. The end is in sight, I guess, because she's in grade 11 and she does drive now. But your body's just so ramped up that, health practitioners have asked me, what do you do? Do you sit? And I'm like, well, I sit when I'm driving, but to me, that's such a foreign concept to actually sit and not do anything. I think it's kind of a mental thing as well, maybe a personality thing. I'm not too sure yet. I'm still working through that.
Yeah, I've heard also a short kind of like a talk, almost like a TED talk, where it said burnout, we think that we take it personally. We think it's like something wrong with us, right? Oh, I didn't perform at the high level, because our body is not designed to what Christine talking about, just go year after year. And so the body just shuts down, and it's not your fault. It's not like you're not a high performer or anything like that. But then society puts this pressure on, you have to be on. And then we take this mental and emotional load of oh my God, now I'm a failure because I got to take care of myself. Right. I think where everything's going today is this awareness, this conversation is a lot more open, that hopefully it will inspire people to start taking care of yourself a lot earlier, not to get to the point of the full burnout.
I think business owners are traditionally the kind of personality type, in a disc profile, call them a high D. That's common. Aside from that, business owners kind of get in the habit of drive, right? They're entrepreneurs. They drive. They want to exceed. They want to achieve. They want to build an asset. They can retire. All that stuff, right? And I think probably we've all been through it. I know I've been through it. But you get in that treadmill of drive, and then because you got to get to a point where you earn the right that you can pay your bills, make some money, enjoy it. But then once you've earned that right, I think it's really hard for a lot of business owners to get their head wrapped around how do I get some people to help, delegate that kind of stuff, because the money's there, the profit's there to be able to actually get some people to help, right? And that can be probably a hard thing, I think for anybody. I know for sure I've been through it. Yeah, that's probably part of it, right? It's accepting the fact I've earned the right to get other people to do stuff, and then I can go back to a normal sort of work schedule / some balance, being able to take some extra time out to go work out or go do things. Or now I get it. You add the complexity of, we'll say, young and teenage kids to that. And then that becomes a whole nother level of problem, like Christine, you were talking about, so now I'm done work. I got to go home, and I don't get to decompress or go work out. I got to take the kids to whatever sport they're playing or whatever they're doing. Yeah, I get it.
And I feel it goes hand in hand with a business owner. Your children see you working hard and being a higher achiever. So, I know for my daughter, especially, she's at that age where she is definitely, I would say, a very high achiever, both in her school and her sport. And you don't want to discourage that because,
Right.
you're being the example. So, but how do you also be the example to take a moment, and I think that's what I'm trying to navigate for sure, is being that example. And I don't think I'm being a great example in that area, but I'm working on it.
Well, that's just an additional pressure, right?
True. Yeah.
Like, not only make your business profitable, not only make your household run efficiently, now you have to be an example of health for your young women that's coming after you.
Exactly.
So Christine, like, how do you, or I don't know, Tracy, do you still, are your kids like, are they out of the house or?
She's like, yeah, I booted them out.
I did. Yeah, no, I don't have that immediate. I mean, they still do watch you though. They're young adults. They're trying to make a life for their own, for themselves as well, and they see and they watch, but not as I don't know if you'd say as intimately as Christine, because it's right there, and they really see a part of it. My kids only see it when they get together with me or that sort of thing. So yeah, mine are not home. So yeah.
Yeah. I've heard somebody say that they run, so as a business and like female business entrepreneur, that they run their household just like business. Like she learned from Greg checklists and default schedules and all that stuff. Like, so Christine, is that how you run your household as well?
My calendar, is all color coded. So I have, pink wand stuff with Tracy that I share, family stuff, and then my personal stuff sprinkled throughout it. So definitely I would prefer it to be very business structured, but unfortunately there's a husband that in the partnership, and he's not as business minded as I am. So he does not like that structure. So
Okay.
we try to loosely structure it. Thankfully, and this is where a business partner plays a big role, is, with Tracy in the area she's in, her kids don't have the demand. Like for me, from about 3:30 till 6 is a very, very busy time trying to balance, the finishing of my day at work, plus food, plus get kids out. So on the times when my husband's unavailable to help in those areas, that's where I have a little bit more leeway, thanks to Tracy allowing it, so I'm able to she can cover while I can get home and do that. So, that's where I'm very grateful to have a partnership in business as well.
That's a big deal.
The example Sandra was talking about was actually really interesting. It was a husband-wife business owner team, and COVID hit. Kids are now all home from school all day, every day. So mass pandemonium sets in. They got 3 kids. And it was interesting to watch. The wife made a responsibility schedule down to the point where every kid had a checklist on their door that said, like, before bed, prepare the following stuff, check it off for tomorrow. And then in the morning, checklist, prepare this stuff. And where they could help out with like snacks for school and all that stuff. The parents took less ownership of doing the tasks for them and took more ownership of standing by the front door. And the kids weren't allowed out until they spot checked everything was actually done. But it was kind of cool because they delegated the household responsibilities amongst the family, even the little kids, like elementary school kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I thought that was pretty cool because it's probably something that could be implemented in most business owners' lives ongoing, even after COVID, when kids are in school and stuff. Yeah, it was I thought that was really cool. That was allowed them to get through the sanity.
I think it would be up to Greg. The whole world would just walk around with checklists. Right?
What are you trying to say?
So what I wanted to ask you guys is, so before you met Greg, you had your gym, and same was with me as well. Like I actually had a holistic health clinic in Vancouver, BC. And I know personally, like before I met Greg, it was a chaos. Like there's no checklist, there's no structure, there's just kind of flying by the seat of the pants, not knowing like the profitability of the business, which always was like unpredictable and stressful. So imagine if you have not met, well, I know you guys were in the fitness industry. So like if you're in fitness, like your mindset already, like, okay, there's a plan and I got to follow it if you want to achieve the result. So you guys had that mindset already. But if you would have not met Greg and worked through, so I'm just thinking like what other business owners might be going through, right? if they don't have that guidance of getting organized, getting structured, getting this checklist, getting the default calendar, plus you have to run your family life. And if your partner, your husband, is not into it to kind of help you out, because it happens a lot. Like we hear those stories a lot. If it's like it's not aligned, like the values or like the where you're going to go, the goals in life, it's super difficult, right? Like, can you speak about that a little bit? Like if you would have not met Greg in your life, like where you'd be today?
Tracy, you might want to, because I'm a high D as well. So
I think, coming from the fitness industry, yes, we were good at setting goals. I think for us and having met Greg, it was like tracking, more of the tracking and actually looking at the numbers and that sort of thing when it comes to the business side of things. I think that we thought everything was great because, there was money in the bank account and we just kept running the business. We could set goals, no problem. We know how to reach the goals, but to actually sit and see if it's profitable, that's really where Greg helped us out. I think too, just in what we've applied with the pink wand and all of the processes and procedures and those sorts of things, all of those have it reduces time in the long run so that you have more time to do other things. So I think just by using the tool, it's making things more efficient so that now we can start to have more of that balance back.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that at the end. So if we could draw a dotted line of that, you're saying like if an average business owner can get all that sort of organized. So A, get processes organized, but B, look at information. So say numbers more often, understand them. It lowers anxiety and that becomes better for the mental health, right? Like there's just less of that constant anxiety around what's going on and I don't know if I'm good. And yeah, I think that's a big part of probably mental health with that. I would agree totally.
Yeah.
Like me, like I was the kind of person that like I'm a thinker. I have this disease called how do I improve everything in my life all the freaking time. And it can be maddening to be honest. So prior to getting into business coaching, like I'd get to bed at night and I would lie there and go, okay, I got to think about this tomorrow. And then I stress out because I'm trying to think of everything I got to think about tomorrow. And I'm trying to go to bed, which is like, I might as well just do this. And I'm like, oh, I got a great idea. I'm going to get a pad of paper and a pen and put it beside my bed. And then all that stuff I think about, I'll just write down and I'll have it for tomorrow. Oh, that'd be great. Except then I'm lying there till 3 a.m. thinking of things to write on a sheet of paper while I'm supposed to be sleeping. So that was even dumber. And it wasn't until I really got organized with, like Christine brought up earlier, the calendar, getting organized with checklists, just getting my life as routine as I could without handcuffing creativity. It's not meant to handcuff the creativity. It's just meant to get organized. But as I did that and started to do a good job of that, boy, for the last 15, 16 years, when I hit the bed, I'm out. Like I sleep great because my mind's not always spinning because I know I got tomorrow organized. I know I got the day after organized. Like I know my life's pretty organized and it runs smooth. So I can definitely accomplish way more now than I used to, but with way less stress. So I think I was just expanding, Tracy, on what you brought up. I think it's an important point, and I think it helps a lot with anxiety and stress and manages it. I think that's super important.
Christine, what is your opinion about that?
for myself, I'm similar as far as, always striving to find, for me, it was a balance. I wanted it all. I wanted to have a good business. I wanted to have a good marriage, have fun with my kids, but then also have my own little bit of independence. And so when we started learning all the different business tools from Greg, it helped me to become more confident as a business owner to take bigger risks, to take more informed steps. Our gym, for example, knowing, do we stay open during COVID lockdowns or do we keep going? That was a huge one because, you can look at the bank account, you can look at different things, but to look at the P&L and just to break it down the way Greg does, I really appreciate that because then I feel like I'm making a very informed decision. So just having
Which
that,
is less stressful, right?
much less stressful, because every day, it's a situation nobody's been in, and every day you question it. So if you can have that guidance as your tool beside you, that was very helpful in that stressful time for sure. It's just one less stress, right? Because there was many at that time.
Yeah.
And then even in this new company, switching from running a gym to a cleaning company, we were very confident because it was business. We know business, and the amount of time that we had educated under Greg, it helped us be confident because you don't want to make waffling decisions. I want to be able to get in there, make the decision, move on, get going, structure everything, and just keep moving. In my family life, I don't bring it in as much. I'm more about trying to teach my kids to be independent. And so the checklist thing, I teach them, but I'm not as regimented. I feel like that's my balance, not to rule my family like I would the business, but to try to teach them to be a bit more independent thinkers. What is your goal? What are your consequences, the pros and cons? So for myself, I think that's where I am a bit different, that balance is really important. And I want them to be able to listen to themselves too. And is this taking too much? Am I pushing myself too much? And being able to gauge for themselves, because eventually they're going to have to make those decisions on their own. So I don't want to take that thinking power away from them.
There's another really good thing. So like you're, Christine, so you're trying to be an example for your kids to be like, I got to take care of myself and feel good, right? Without feeling that you're guilt, like, oh, I'm taking care of myself. But another good example that you're showing your kids is having a profitable business. Like in the world where 90 to 95% business failing, you guys are
True.
rocking. And do you speak with your kids about what's going on in your business? Do you talk about, because I know you get out in the community and you talk about that, like you're part of the women's group and you're going and networking, but do you talk to your kids about that you guys are extraordinary in this world? Not only that you're women owned, because it's a
You're
super
ass
small
kickers. Sorry.
yeah, it's small percent that actually, women own business, overall. But you guys, like, to Greg's point, you're kicking ass. Do you talk to your kids about that? Like both of you?
It's actually funny you bring that up. I'm in the middle of a conversation with my 12-year-old son. He wants to resell. So I am not discouraging him. But I'm making him put together a informal business plan.
Sorry, he wants to what? Resell?
Resell. So you buy like knockoff things from China and resell them.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And he's definitely a business-minded
Nice.
child. I've known this for a while. I keep trying to tell him he's going to eventually run the company, but he doesn't think so. And so I actually opened our P&L and I showed him, I said, this is why you need to know your numbers. And
Nice.
I asked him, I said, what do you have for your business plan so far? And he opens up his phone and has his notes, and he has like lots of notes. He's been doing all his research. And so, for myself, I want to teach him, well, how do you look at your numbers? That's going to be the ultimate. Is it something I'm going to go forward with or not? And how can I make myself more profitable? So he's very eager. For him, to be 12, to have a stash of cash in your pocket is like a drive for him.
He's got the
That's
roll
good.
with the elastic.
Exactly. The legal roll.
He's like, yeah, that's funny.
So, I love sharing that with him. My
Perfect.
daughter isn't as minded, but we still talk about money. We talk about costs, and I think it's important to talk about it. I grew up in a family where we didn't talk about it. And I think that can be harmful as an adult. You have to learn. So for myself, we definitely talk about it.
Yeah, I
and
actually.
then do they know that you're kicking ass as a business owner in the world, or they don't? Or is it like a normal thing that they don't know that you're do they think that every business is like that?
I don't know. I've never asked them. I know they're proud that I'm a business owner because they tell all their friends, for sure.
Yeah.
But they should say, my mom's an ass-kicking business
Yeah. Sorry, Tracy, I cut you off there.
No, it's all good. I actually, my kids being older, so my daughter actually is in the process of doing her own business. So she
Oh, yay.
in January, she's a tattoo artist and she was working for a shop. And we've had many conversations about running business and why it's good to, be your own boss and what the benefits are. And before she took that leap, she talked to me about it and we went through everything, and she took a leap and went out on her own just this past January at 20 years old. So, and that's her goal, is to have her own business, run her own business, because she sees the benefit behind it.
So here, a proud moment for both
I'm
moms.
very, yeah.
Yay!
It's good.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what are some, sorry, I don't mean to change, I'm not trying to change subject, but I think I'm curious, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to word this. What are some things that, let's say, husbands or partners maybe aren't aware of, they should be aware of? As a female business owner, what are some things you may think differently about or feel differently about than a male business owner would, or than your husband would realize? And I say that meaning, like, I think it's well known women are more, what's the word I'm trying to look for, like about safety and like men are very protective, where women are more, it's about safety, making sure everybody's well-being is good in the family, right? Like about your kids and family. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm picking the right words there, but so that brings different stresses where men might be willing to take a chance more, women may not be. Or again, I'm making that up, but what are some things that men should be aware of? And there's things that women should be aware of with men as a business owner, obviously. But what are some stresses that women would go through as a business owner that maybe men should realize, like because they're maternally coming from a different place, right? Like you might care, probably in general, women probably care more about their team than men in general. I'm generalizing, right? Their staff. Like what are some things like that maybe men should be more aware of?
I don't know. Trying to think.
Me either.
I can start that conversation. I think maybe because you guys are so driven that maybe you don't realize sometimes, you're like, this is just how things are done. But I know for a fact you guys care about your employees' well-being a whole lot. I think as women, we just pay attention to a lot more detail than men would. I'll just say simple things like, and you tell me if you guys can relate to that or not. But like in my life, for example, if I ask my husband to take care of the dog's going to be taken care of. They're going to be fed. They're going to be walked. Maybe not. And not every day, maybe, because, the schedule's full. Where if I'm taking care of my dogs, like I know every freaking hair that falls on the ground. The meals are with sparkles and the dance, and there's all that extra stuff that goes into making sure the emotional well-being. So if we're talking about like as a business owner, like for the staff, I wanted to make sure that my staff is not only like financially taken care of, but they feel safe, they feel heard. We talk about their personal problems and they feel like they're part of family per se, where I think maybe potentially men, they kind of like, okay, you're paid, you show up and maybe make sure the job's done and ask me questions if I'll give you a solution, kind of, like what
Maybe
do you guys
not
think?
the nurturing side, the
Right. That's the word I was
motherly
looking
nurturing side of.
Yeah. I was trying to find the word. That was the word.
Yeah.
How do you guys perceive that in your life, in your like business and personal life? How do you manage that?
I know for myself, I like to be in the office when the team is coming back at the end of the day. It gives me a lot of insight on how they're doing. You'll hear them laughing and visiting, or come by the office and say hi, or you'll hear them bitching and moaning and grunting and groaning. So it helps. I keep track of that, and it helps me to know how I should schedule them for that week. It is a very physical job, plus personalities. We do consider what personalities are working together to have a better environment for them. But that better environment is also tied into how good a clean is. It all kind of ties in together. It makes our company a better company, hopefully better profits. So it's such a close relation between the staff morale and how much we support them, because they're going into people's homes. We need to carry that throughout the day. So for myself, like, it sounds like it's nurturing, but in the same breath, I'm doing it for the bottom line. Like it all ties in together. and
But
little
it's probably
things.
more. It probably feels more genuine coming from you if you are combining the fact of nurturing, right? Like of actually caring. Like
Yeah,
if
like
you're
I'm not going to
so
tell
let me
them.
rephrase.
Yeah.
If you're caring more than the average owner would, then that's going to come through as authentic what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and it's only in the back of my mind that why I'm like the big end of the reason. But yeah, you do want to see people happy and satisfied with their workplace for sure. And little things like for Mother's Day, each of our moms, we got them flowers and a treat and
Aw.
went and delivered them to the staff that don't come into the office, that don't meet us. And then Tracy delivered it to the staff within the office, and it's just the little gestures to try to help people feel valued because of course you want to pay them more, but when your business is structured a certain way, you can't just keep giving raises over and over. So how else do you make these people feel valuable?
This probably positively impacts your staff turnover too, right? Like, I mean, you have less staff turnover because you're in a cleaning business. Like, arguably, you should have a issue with staff turnover. You should. That industry is prone to probably high staff turnover, but your staff turnover is probably good compared to the average cleaning company because of the things you just said.
We try for sure.
And that'll lower stress.
Mm-hmm.
Good for mental health. It's good. Good for their mental health too, actually.
Yeah, true.
Tracy, do you have anything like talking about like nurturing side of for staff or no?
No, I mean, I kind of echo what Christine says. Like, even though in her mind, these are the reasons, the staff don't see that or know that. And so they just feel, it feels inclusive. It feels, that it is caring, even though that's what you're thinking about, the bottom line. But yeah.
Actually, another thing too is that we actually have had staff leave and come back and their
Oh, really?
comment. Yeah, we've had a few of
Wow.
them do that. And Tracy's the one, maybe you can speak on this, Tracy, on their comments when they come back because she interviews people. But yeah, we've had it happen quite frequently.
Yeah, they just, they tell us that there's no other employer that they work for that treats them the same way, that we're understanding and we're willing to work. Christine's really good at working around people's schedules, and we rarely say no if they want time off. She always makes it work somehow. And people like that they actually, it seems like you care about what's going on in their life as well, because you're trying to make the schedule work around what's happening in their life too. So that's the biggest comment and compliment that we get, is that we're just laid back, if you will. It seems that we're laid back and we'll, accommodate whatever requests that they have. That's kind of the feedback. They like the morale. They like, the people that are there. Everybody feels welcoming and friendly, and those are the comments that we get.
So
Nice.
do you feel like you have an extra pressure? Like, we're talking about women's business, entrepreneurship and health. Do you feel like you carrying a bit of that weight on your shoulder to make sure that everybody in your company are happy and taken care of? Do you feel like there's an extra weight on your shoulders? Or is it
I
just
think it
comes
for
naturally?
sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure for scheduling. Some days they'll be like, oh, I forgot, but I have, something big like a divorce hearing or something that they have to get to. And I'm like, I care about your divorce, but you really made things hard for me here. So, but usually I'll just get in and figure it out and then it's over. So, you try to get past it instead of holding that stress from that, scramble.
Yeah.
But I would say it definitely can be a pressure for sure. Like I don't do the scheduling, but I know what's involved in it, and I can see the pressure behind trying to make it work when you only have a certain amount of staff, but we've got all these cleans. Well, you need a day off and we don't have enough people. How are we going to make that work? So, yeah.
Get your kids in there cleaning. No,
Yeah,
just kidding.
I do actually. My daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're part of the
Hey,
business
field
as well.
trip. We're going to a new
Yeah.
house you've never been to before. Can you grab this, the vacuum, the cleaning thing? Why? Oh, we're going to do some things inside, a fun activity.
Exactly.
Okay, so question, because I know business owners, mental stress is obviously a huge thing. Can you talk a little bit to your other business, the training business, where, the whole COVID thing really kind of grabbed you by the throat. Imagine you're talking to a business owner today who's struggling, like paying the bills, not making money, and just their mental stress is probably through the roof, which then goes to their home life, right? For sure, they bring that home, and that causes all sorts of issues with spouse, with kids. What advice, like, what would you say to those people? I guess, A, how to deal with it, what they can do, like to get out of that funk they're in, because that's a bad funk, right? And I know you guys went through that. So what can you share with people to say, hey, this is kind of how you got to deal with it, or how you got to get out of it, or some things to think about, or that was so long ago and now you're kicking ass, you don't remember.
I think, honestly, as far as the business side of it with the whole COVID thing, just your program and knowing the business, I feel like that part of it took that stress away as far as like knowing what was going on with the business. The numbers don't lie. Things you do, you track it, you see if it works, it doesn't work. I think that eliminated some of the stress. Not all of it, but some of it anyway.
And what about like, because I know I've been there a long time ago, struggling business, and you don't want to bring it home because then you're dragging your spouse down too, right? And then it just kind of gets worse and it gets more anxiety. So I don't know. Did you guys find, like, did you try and keep that out of the house? Did you bring it home and talk about it? Did you find other people in your life you could talk to about it? I mean, obviously having a coach or whatever helped you be able to talk to me about it. Just thoughts on that. Cause I know when I went through that a long time ago, that was a big deal, right? You're trying not to bring it home and wreck the household too. And then they don't know you're going through all that stress, which brings up a whole nother thing. Cause then you're stressed out. They don't know why you're stressed out. So I don't know if it's better or worse to talk about it or not.
I'm big on movement to help calm my mind. So for myself, the whole time I've been trying to continue movement. 2 examples for myself is going for a walk. And yoga is a big one for me. Everybody's different on what calms them. For myself, I find like being a business owner it's lonely. It's hard to find people that do truly understand you and understand the pressure
Right.
on your shoulder. And I do think like even Tracy and I are very different people. And if you were to sit down and talk to us, we both feel the pressure differently. So, as an individual, nobody's going to fully understand you. I'm
Right.
that person that I need to put my mask on first as the plane's going down kind of thing. So what can I do to, take care of that first? And it's hard because it doesn't always give you physical results. It's not like, oh, look at him so thin now, even though the pressure is really high, right? I have been consistently pushing and doing the things, moving and it's all focused to calm my mind. One day it's going to help with the physical, but the mind is more important. That is what keeps our business functioning is our minds.
Right.
Tracy just went through a car accident and her mind got a little mixed up, and she realized, you see it when your mind isn't at its best, you can see how vital that is for your company. So for me, movement, I recommend, even if you feel tired and exhausted and all you want to do is sit in front of that TV and just shut everything off, just go for like a 15-20 minute walk.
Get a
on the
dog.
days, or get a dog. We have a bunny, so we can't really go for a walk.
It comes with more responsibility, but then also,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a good one too. I think a pet would keep you accountable.
Yeah.
But I always would tell my clients 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you can't do the hour, that's fine. But do something. And if you're feeling low that day and it's short, you did something.
That's pretty cool advice. Like I know Sandra and I, we get busy during the day, we're working, all that stuff. And then at the end of the day, take spouses and they want to dump their mind on the other one. Like, okay, this is what happened in my day and this is what's going on. And so we take our dogs for about a 1-hour walk every night. And it's kind of cool because that's it's a chance to,
it's our
like
debrief
you're
time.
saying, you're saying, move, kind of debrief how each other's day went. And then because we're able to get the debrief done pretty quickly, we actually end up having a really productive conversation for about 30 minutes of like business planning. But it's not stressful because I'm realizing now as you're saying this, it's not stressful business planning because like you're saying, we're moving, we're walking. And not only do you walk, you got to pick up poop and you got to,
You're going to bend over, do yoga
So there's
while
the
you're
odd
walking.
squat, and then you're lifting weights because there's like 6 bags of poo.
3 large dogs.
But yeah, it's a good point you make. I realize we do that,
Super simple.
I guess, without realizing it. Every night we're doing that, and it's super productive, and it helps with the mental anxiety. It's productive time, but it's not stressful productive, which is pretty cool.
Well, another
That's
good
good
thing
advice.
too is like if you have something on your mind, it's like it's easy. You'll be like, okay, like many times we're like, we'll talk about it on our walk. Like we'll talk
Yeah.
about it on the walk. And that also helps that mental health for men and women. Is just, let's just talk about while we're walking, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was told that when you walk, the way your eyes scan is the same way that some psychiatrists or counselors try to get eye movement from their from what do you call it, like the people they're working with to help them process things. So I found that interesting that walking is a natural way to actually help you process things. So maybe that's part of why things start coming out when you're going as two people walking and talking, right?
Okay, wait. What if I add chewing gum to it?
From the
Give it a
trainer's
try. Let us know.
From the trainer's perspective, all of us will say it's not good to chew gum while you're exercising because you're interrupting your breathing pattern.
Chewing gum in general is not good for you.
True. Except when you're driving and you're falling asleep.
True. Good
Then
point.
chewing gum is really good.
A friend taught us that one. He's like, you want to stay up when you're driving? Chew gum.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that works.
Good to know.
Yeah. So another thing too, I know both of you, is it both of you or just Christine? You guys are part of like women's community, like in your local community as well, right? Aren't you like participating in something like that?
Yeah. So I'm in a women's mastermind group, and then I also do mentoring, and they just happen to pair me up with females. So I have 2 females that I'm working with as well.
So when it comes to working with entrepreneurial women in your life, you're being like a high achiever. Both of you are high achievers. So you guys have gone through having like now 2 businesses, one that you sold, you didn't just close the doors and walked away. When you in everyday life talk to these women, mentoring them, how do you see, like, what are their thoughts process about their business, being busy, and also potentially like what's their exit strategy? Do they ever talk about it? That they go like, oh, I'm building an asset I'm going to sell one day. Like, what do you guys find?
The group I'm in Calgary, it's a lot of everybody in the room is very high achievers. It actually makes me uncomfortable, which doesn't happen often, that I feel like I need to really level up. So I think it's a good
awesome.
place to be. Yeah, I'm actually presenting on Wednesday. I'm just talking about the different businesses I've had over the years and just what I've learned from each business and from my partnership. So I'm a bit nervous just because of the type of women they are. So for myself, I love that environment because they do talk about their strategies or exit plans. They're very much about, and one lady for sure has already sold a business and is now building another one, so they're the biggest thing I find with women is the amount of support I feel when I'm with these groups of women is, even as a mentor, I just feel that we're in this together. They understand the struggles more than sitting down and talking to a male business owner. And I like the support that women offer each other. And I always leave feeling uplifted and ready to keep pushing along.
And what are the most common struggles that you guys talk about?
Exactly what we're talking about, their health and balance with children and everything, life.
What's the most common solutions? Like, because I feel like, okay, you have to be realistic. If you are not an employee that you're going 9 to 5 and you can just shut off and then now you're going to go, well, there's obviously good and bad, right? Because like you're a business owner, you can say like 3, I'm finished, I'm gone. You cannot say that to your employer. Maybe to you guys would be accommodating, but a lot of employers are not, especially if like, let's just say like if you have a drive you in executive position, you're not going to be like, hey, I got to go pick up my kids, right? Like they're not going to understand that, obviously. So we have to be realistic that if we're taking on entrepreneurship, we're working lots of hours, right? And so no matter what, our health is going to suffer. And so what are the solutions that these women that you're talking about, you hanging out with, what are the solutions other than just like, okay, get organized, get a default calendar, get checklists, and what other solutions do you see right now out there?
The accountability to each other. So I find that at the end of the one I'm in, there's 15 of us in the group. We each give one thing we'll be accountable to the group for the next month and check in on that. And I'd say probably 75% of the women talk about their health goals and wanting to do a bit more for their health. The others, some would be about around their business. I also find that exactly what Greg had mentioned before, that you build your business to a certain size where you're able to buy back the help. So they either buy the help and get help within the company, or like buy help to get meals delivered or help with their kids, or they have extended family to help. So I feel that women look at their family, their friends, other people as their community, and it takes more of a community to achieve what they're trying to achieve.
Okay, so the solutions for what I'm hearing is get profitable, make sure you have enough money you can buy help, and then use your community, whether it's other business, like, community or your family or your friends or whatever so like you're using kind of like the community aspect of helping you out. Is there any other health solutions that are trending right now? Like I know like people start talking more about hormones, DNA, personalized vitamins, just to like optimize your health. Like, do you find that that is part of the conversations as well today?
I know it's part of our conversation with Tracy and I think coming from the fitness world, we're more aware of it and we see the value in it. I don't think the average woman that has the knowledge around it yet. I think it's coming. They talk about different shots or Ozempic or whatever. But for Tracy and I, we understand balance, we understand health, and the vitamin IV injections and balancing your hormones is very important to us. It's also hard because you have to be patient with this. And as a business owner who is pushing and always wants results, it is hard to be patient with your health. For myself, I don't know what you feel on that, Tracy, but I really struggle with how much effort and time you put into it, and the results aren't as quick at all, or not at all.
I agree 100% with that. You do have to be patient. It's hard sometimes to keep pushing and keep doing it, but it works. It'll work in the long run. It has worked in the long run as far as that sort of thing, Yeah.
So there's no magic pill. There's no actually magic
I
pill.
wish.
So the reality is, if you're an entrepreneur wanting to be your own boss, that does not mean that it comes with more time or whatever. It's like you working 80 hours a week on your own schedule. That's your own boss, right? That's
Sandra,
like
if there was a magic pill, I would be selling it right now because I know the margins would be amazing.
Right. There you go.
It is
Spoken
exciting.
by a true business owner.
Yeah,
There you go.
it is exciting though, just like delving into like the whole health side of things, and I'm actually very exciting. I think the newer generation, younger generation, going to be a lot more aware of it, and I think we all probably fall in the same kind of like age gap where like I know exactly where like my most productive workforce is, like my age, like because I got smarter in the brain, got the knowledge that I needed, and then pushing through, but you kind of like you breaking your body, every single day working crazy hours. And I know exactly when it happened. It was like 30, 37, 38, where just my health like started tanking really badly. And I was in fitness industry. I was competing in the fitness competition. And all of a sudden, as a business owner, you don't have time. Go to the gym. I used to go twice in the morning at night, and I was eating perfectly and I had my meals timed. Like, well, when you're running a business and you don't have enough staff, especially when you're starting, you're in that business 14, 16 hours a day. And this is not talking about like having a family at home to take care of, right? So, but I know if I go back in time, 10 years ago, and I start putting certain things in place, I might have not gotten to the point of, like, I don't know, like Christine, you openly said, like, struggling with your health. Like, if you would have known certain things to, like, attack your hormonal health, attack your micronutrient deficiencies, right? Would we be in the place where we are today? So, like, it's kind of exciting that this is, this Friday, like, we're talking with my old salsa friend. Like, he's endocrinologist and he's into the whole genetics. Like, he's building the whole his business around it, where like people are talking about it, people are interested, feeding your brain, your mind with things that we actually need. So I think it's just like super, super exciting for us as we age as well, but for the younger business, like entrepreneurs and women.
Yeah,
I think
for
there's a
sure
lot
it
more
is.
people talking about it though. Like I've never seen the conversation come up so much as even the last 6 to 12 months. Like even our
Yeah.
friends, we get together with friends and all of a sudden, like it doesn't take long before the whole conversation is
Yeah.
about health. And it was
Yeah.
never like that before. So, and I don't think this is happening because just we're more aware, but I think it's happening because more people are becoming
Yeah.
more aware. Like it's becoming more of an open discussion, which is a good thing, right?
I think
Especially
it's
for business owners,
wonderful.
it's a
I think
great
it's
thing.
wonderful, right? Don't you think that? Like Christine and Tracy, like you guys know
yeah.
about the health so much, just just from fitness side of things and nutrition. But imagine if we start feeding actually like what our DNA is meant to be, micronutrients and all that stuff. Like we don't know about that. We don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it is very confusing, and it is hard to find even today, like resources to make sure. Like how do I find out exactly what my body needs? But the whole push of getting there, I think is super exciting.
I'm just
Well,
going
and-
to say the day they come out and say that smokers aren't healthy, I'm not listening anymore.
It's been said long time ago, Greg. You missed the memo.
Well, and for myself, like being in your 40s as a business owner, starting to slowly be making more money. There's so many years I still want to be able to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have my health as the reason that I can't enjoy it. So to be able to be healthy and have good quality of life is so important. I think it's becoming more of a topic as well, that people want to thrive as they're aging.
Sorry, to go back one sec. When I said smoker, I meant like cooking smoker, not.
It's been said that it's not the healthiest thing for you.
No,
But it
then I'm
tastes
not
so
listening.
good.
It does taste
I know.
so good. I know as an entrepreneurs, we sacrifice a lot because through the stress levels and all that. But it doesn't mean that our health would have been better if we just worked 9 to 5 for somebody, right? Like it doesn't mean that we would have been healthy today.
No.
Because these processes of getting older and hormonal changes and all that stuff still would have happened. But the entrepreneurs have that upper hand that maybe by the time you get to that point, to your point, Christine, that like now you have extra money. Now you can buy back your time. Now you can invest into, I don't know, go get a naturopath, go, even IV vitamins. They're not cheap, right? But at least now you have that. And then also, if you are an entrepreneur that thinking of the exit plan, like now you're setting yourself up for retirement, and that takes a lot of pressure off, right?
Yes, for sure.
I have another question. See, like you guys is a little bit different because there's 2 of you. Just in case something happens to one, the other one can step in and help out. What about the business owners where they do not have a, business partner that they can rely on? Like that could be a lot more. Then it's like probably like talking about buying back your time. Then it's probably having a good manager or assistant manager, right?
I'd say
Getting to
a
a
good
point where you can
playbook.
afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Playbook.
a good like we were speaking about earlier with Tracy, it really started lighting a fire under us to get our playbook in order, because even with Tracy and I, there's certain jobs that each of us do that the other one doesn't have their hands in. So you need a refresher, you need a playbook. So we have been working on the playbook, and that I think would be the huge drive for a single business owner. You have to have a playbook, because if Tracy wasn't a single owner, what would she have done? If she didn't have somebody there that knows the business as well as I do.
Absolutely.
Just think pro sports, right? Like a certain position on a team gets hurt, sick, whatever, and someone has to step into that position. If that team doesn't have like playbook training, all that stuff, big problem. Like that's a big L in the loss column.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
huge.
playbook helps day to day for you guys today if somebody's out or if it's just a single business owner, but also really raises the value of your company when you go to
Yeah.
sell it.
Because the buyer knows they're going to succeed.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's like a really, really, really big deal that a lot of people don't think about. Like people think of, day-to-day stresses and, oh, my employees don't know how to do this, so I'm going to create like a checklist or something. But there's that secondary that I think a lot of people don't think about.
Well, and the company goes on, like that. We all think that we're such a huge part of our company, which is true. But in the end, it will continue with or without you, especially if you have the right playbook and right procedures in place. To me, that's freedom as well, to have it continue without having you in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have your like a retirement plan where like, okay, by the time I exit this business, this is how much money I want to get out of my business, and what things do I need to put in place to get that multiplier to that point? Do you guys think about that? Do you talk about that? Because I think 99% of the people never even think about that.
I think that's something that we're working on constantly. Like we definitely working on now. That, like Christine said, just with what happened with me and stuff, it's like lit a fire so that the business can succeed without you. So, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but it's definitely, that's the drive right now for sure.
It's interesting how sometimes it takes some kind of I don't know if the word is life-altering moment, but it could be any moment. And a situation, it takes like some kind of situation for the light bulb to go on, to go, oh, wow. Like for me, way back, I got in a situation where we got like super crashed in the business and we were going to lose it all. And that completely changed my perspective on business the rest of my life. Now I know how to read through the bullshit and say, no, that's not going to work here. We got to do this. So yeah, to your point, going through some kind of situation, and it's hard because you hope that people don't need to go through something like that to light the fire to know what to do. But sometimes that's actually what happens, right?
I think too, for myself, what I actually appreciate with business is I can change my retirement plan. Mine has grown substantially, and I do really love business, so I'm not really planning on how do I exit. I'm planning on how do I move myself into a position to allow the growth that I'd like, and how do I evolve my position. So for me, that's exciting. That's interesting. I'm learning new things. I'm growing, and the company is growing. And so I love that. As a business owner, where somebody who's just putting money aside, working 9 to 5, I think there's a bit more limits there for them.
Yeah, we just had our business coach license training finished, and it was actually really cool. One of the licensed coach said, I calculated how much money I need for my retirement, and I knew I'm not going to get that for my current business. So he sold it, and then he now buying other business, doing coaching as well, and getting out in all different kinds of things to make sure he gets to that retirement plan that he has.
Which is exciting.
It's super exciting, but again, it's a different kind of thinking, and I think I love when Greg does these consultations with clients that I get to sit in many times, and they never even thought about, like, what can I sell my business? I can actually sell my business, and how much can I sell it for? And their expectations of how much they think their business is worth sometimes is way over, like dreaming in the clouds, but sometimes it's way under, where like, why are you undervaluing yourself so much? So it's everything in between, right?
And then I think to Christine's point, Sandra, to your point, most business owners don't think of what their exit plan is. But then to Christine's point, maybe they sort of get one and they usually like Sandra, what you were saying is they underestimate it or undervalue it. But then I think to Christine's point, then they get close to that. It's like, well, wait a minute, I can achieve more. So then the plan changes, which is cool, right? Yeah, I guess that's the whole point. The business is supposed to be the tool to earn the life you want to live, but that's not for everybody. Not everybody can do that. And I think the gist of this conversation was, how do you deal along the way with those stresses, and how do you earn life balance or work-life balance? I always love the people that say, like, they're brand new in business, they're just starting out, they're like, no, I'm going to focus on work-life balance. And I'm like, and you're in your first 2 years? Good luck with that. So you better start defining what work-life balance is, because each year as you go along the journey, that'll change, right? That definition will change. And I think the reality is you got to kind of earn your way into it. But there's some good tips there while you're in that struggle part of, like, go for a walk every day, move, eat better, try and get a workout in. Like we've talked about, delegate activities to your family, even kids. Like, there's no reason for a kid to blow their room up and then the parents got to go in there and clean it every week. Like, that's a stress you don't need, right?
And also do your potentially DNA testing. Also look at that. Look at the hormones. Find a good naturopath or somebody that you can register nurse that you can work with, just to optimize not only business, but optimize yourself, right? And I think it's okay. And I think for me, it's the underlying, like, this conversation is, doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. You're just entrepreneur. You're going to have extra stresses. Going for a walk, whether it's a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. We're all going to get the same benefits. It's woman and a guy, we have different cycles within the month. We can work within that as well, right? And it just, the matter of organizing and not feeling guilty about taking care of yourself. Did I miss anything? Find help. Find help.
I think too, as like a business owner, it's almost like you think of yourself as a high-end car. Like, if I want to be, a fancy, expensive, nice Bentley, like a nice fancy car, well, I have to fuel it. I have to take care of it. There's things that I have to do to be able to perform where I need to keep my value as a business owner, as a person. So if I have that in my mind every day, then I think you're more mindful of the choices you make. Yeah, of course, you're going to have ice cream here and there, but, maybe make a few better choices.
Yeah, good point. I love that analogy.
Well, I know you love the analogy about ice cream once in a while.
I was talking about the cars, but I'll take the ice cream analogy
A bit
too.
of both. Have your ice cream and your car.
I can drive the classic car with the ice cream in it.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Lots of classic car owners will hear that and completely cringe. Having ice cream in your car? Like, forget
with
it.
like a big cone to catch it.
Oh,
like the cone that the dogs have on their head.
Have a slice. Just don't drive with it.
That'd be an unbelievable viral video.
Right? Just so you don't
like
drip
the parents
on your
in
car.
their classic car taking like the grandkids through the drive-through at Dairy Queen. It's a really nice classic car and they got the cones on them to eat the ice cream.
That would be a lot more drips down, I think, because I don't.
That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
That's great. Well, quick question for everybody. I'll go in order on my screen. So I'll start with Christine. Favorite car, could be classic or otherwise.
Oh, anything fast. I like to drive fast.
Nice. Good answer.
Well, if
Sandra.
there's no car?
Motorcycle, airplane, anything that can move quickly.
Boat?
A boat, yeah. Do
Fast
a boat.
Yeah.
Cool. Sandra.
Yeah, mine, I don't know. I used to really like Porsche. It used to be on my dream board. The Porsche Spider, whatever that car was. Not that I know a lot about cars, but for some reason I was like very attracted to that car. But then recently I got to drive like a supercar Corvette, and that was so much fun. So yeah, like if somebody says, hey, what car do you want? I would probably vote for that one.
That was like the big, like 650 horsepower one or whatever, like the banged up one. That was good.
That's a perfect conversation for Women's Mental or Health Month for sure.
Tracy, how about you?
I would go for the sound of the car, not like an expensive car
Like an old muscle
sounds
car
different.
kind of thing?
Yeah, well, not loud, but it just sounds. It's got a sound to it. Yeah.
Like a rumble.
Yeah.
Like an expensive rumble, not
Right.
I need
Not
a
like
muscle
a-
car rumble.
Yeah, that reminds me of have you ever seen the movie Old School with Will Ferrell where he plays Frank?
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
Yeah.
And he's fixing his car in the driveway and the muffler is just a mess, right? And it's super loud. And he revs it and he's like, yeah, sounds good.
I
It's
had
gonna
that.
fall off the car. No.
I had that experience actually when I was in my fitness industry. Times I was going to see a client, like to the gym for a training session, and I didn't know at that time. Again, woman, right? It just like my muffler started making all kinds of noise, and I was like, "Oh my god, my car's gonna blow up!" Like, so I had to like. Because I was still like 30 minutes away. I'm like, my car is down. I'm so sorry. I got to reschedule. Like, but yeah. So I totally
That's
firsthand experience. It's not fun. So I prefer the right rumble too. Greg, how about you?
I think I'd go with like an old classic car fixed up.
What kind
Muscle
of
car or
Yeah, a muscle
Yeah,
car. Sorry, I
those-
should
that-
rephrase. My
those are
bad. I should
good.
rephrase that.
yeah.
Like an old, like remember back when, I don't know if he still does this, but when Chip Foose was doing cars like that, some old muscle car fixed up, be really
Nice.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Christine, Tracy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's really good. I think, you two have been through the gauntlet, so to speak, like going from a business that was really starting to work and then COVID punched you in the mouth and you fought through it. So you experienced that kind of stress and then you sold it. And honestly, you bought a business that I think like in less than 3 years, you've like literally turned around and made really profitable. That's really awesome, right? So fantastic. And then that's a whole different set of stresses as you've talked about, but appreciate you sharing that with us and appreciate you too. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for listening to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform and leave a comment or review as it helps with the algorithm. To learn more about us and what we do, check out our website. Until next time, go make it happen.